the second round of questions. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. And I just want to echo the thanks of my colleague from the Bloc Québécois. You've taken on a really complicated topic. You've reviewed it, and you've really put something comprehensive forward. And you know, a number of us sit on the Human Rights Committee, the Human Rights Subcommittee of Foreign Affairs, in addition to being here. And it means a lot because, as we've said quite a lot lately, democracy is something that dies in the darkness. And you've really taken steps to shine a light on that darkness through this bill, which really addresses 6 key areas. It brings forward human rights accountability reporting. It defines and recognizes transnational repression. It expands sanctions. It brings asset forfeiture and enforcement timelines into line and into just a much more just a stronger regime. It helps with transparency and parliamentary oversight, and then it takes that additional step to deal with issues of foreign influence and broadcasting controls. And so I get a lot of correspondence from Canadians whose families are targeted by foreign regimes and others who are concerned about transnational repression, foreign interference, and disinformation. And of course, also the presence of war criminals in Canada, and they want Canada to act on things. I'm wondering if you could, we've talked a lot about the importance of this bill theoretically. I'm wondering, you must have spoken to a number of Canadians who've shared their personal stories with you. Do you think you could talk a little bit and expand a little bit on the way in which this is going to make a difference and matter to Canadians?
So in our frequent conversations with different diaspora communities, you know, they have some just horrific stories, you know, whether it's, you know, family members back in China that, you know, are being held in these forced labor camps for the Uyghurs, you know, members of the Falun Dafa community, you know, where their loved ones were you know, first captured and, you know, tortured and had their organs illegally harvested. And those individuals who carried out this grotesque human rights violation enrich themselves and still have free ability to travel wherever they want. You know, you look at you know, the number of deaths that have occurred in Ukraine because of Russia's aggression and their attacks, and you know, when you talk about making sure that those families that often lost their loved ones to sexual violence from Russian soldiers as they invaded over the lines in places like Irpin and Bucha. I've been there and met with the families, and they have loved ones back here. There's no recourse for them against those monsters that carried it out, all under the direction of Vladimir Putin. Talking to the Persian community that were, you know, watch their loved ones thrown in prison outside of Tehran and then executed, and the brutality that takes place on the streets is all they wanted was freedom, democracy, human rights, the things that we take for granted, which is being denied in so many other countries around the world. So if we don't stand up and hold those people to account that are carrying out these atrocities, these genocides, nothing will ever change. And, you know, you think about how do people become genocidal maniacs? They almost always start off by being a corrupt foreign official who's stuffing their pockets illegally out of the government coffers at the expense of the citizens they're supposed to be representing and providing, you know, the public good for. And instead, they, you know, you look at like somebody like Viktor Yanukovych, you know, when he was president in Ukraine, and how he stuffed his pockets and ran away to Ukraine or to Russia as soon as the people turned against him. But, you know, prepared to take away all of their rights, their civil liberties, and in the process, gorged himself on the public purse for his own personal benefit.
Well, I want to thank you for that comprehensive answer. And I know that the bill does define transnational repression specifically as tactics used by a foreign state to intimidate, harass, surveil, or threaten individuals or groups located outside the state borders. And I am certain that Canadians who are experiencing those things will take some comfort from the fact that the government of Canada now clearly defines that activity as being something that is offensive to our values and criminal.
Thank you very much. Next, we go to MP